Hello everyone, and welcome to the finale of Let's Play The Legend of Zelda Majora's Mask. Alright guys, it's midnight on day 3, and what we need to do in this episode is go up there and call the Giants to put an end to the Skull Kid's reign of terror. Sis! Tail! Swamp, mountain, ocean, canyon, hurry, the 4 who were there, bring them here! Don't speak out of line, stupid fairy! That's it, I won't let things go the way you expect them to! Well, whatever. Even if they were to come now, they wouldn't be able to handle me, hee hee. Just look above you. If it's something that can be stopped, then just try to stop it! It stopped. We did it! It stopped! Sis! Tail! Good, we made it in time. The Giant's call worked on the Skull Kid. Hey, Skull Kid, do you realize what you've been doing to everyone? Wait, sis, don't be so hard on the Skull Kid. Tail, why aren't you protecting him? Aren't you mad at him for hitting you so much? He was lonely, the Skull Kid. He was trying to destroy everything around him. That is not the same as a lonely child. We can't allow that. The power of the mask made him do it. It was too much for the Skull Kid to handle. It's because he doesn't know his place. On top of having a weak will and no strength of heart, he's a fool. Certainly, he had far too many weaknesses to use my power. Yeah, that's right. Admit your stupidity. Huh? A puppet that can no longer be used as mere garbage. This puppet's role has just ended. It can't be! Then that moon!
I shall consume everything.
Why? This isn't good. Let's go back. Let's go back. Hurry. The Song of Time. The Song of Time. Aw, no. You've got to be kidding. Don't tell me you're going up there. I won't do it. You go by yourself. I'm staying here with Tail. I'll go. What? What are you saying, Tail? Is something wrong with you? I don't always want to be running away. If only I had been stronger, the Skull Kid wouldn't have... I understand. I'll go. After all this time, Tail, you've gotten really stubborn, just like someone else I know. You know, you guys are really stupid. Alright guys, now here we are, inside the moon, and this is probably my favorite place in the entire game. Just look around, it's peaceful, tranquil, there's sun shining, there's a giant tree here that we need to go look at. It's just the most peaceful place in the entire game, and it's weird what we had to do to get here, but we've been swallowed by the moon, and there are a couple objectives that we need to take care of in here. Now there's the Majora's Mask kid sitting there in front of the tree. There are also a bunch of other kids running around that we need to talk to, and if I can get a hold of this kid right here, I would love to start with him. Ah, nice weather, isn't it? Masks, you have a lot. You too. Will you be a mask salesman? Then I'll play with you. So, the masks, give me some. Now then, that was a little bit hard to read because it was so disjointed, but what these kids do, and I'm gonna go ahead and equip the Deku mask, even though you have to, basically the idea is you have to give these kids masks, and you can't give them your transformation masks or whatever, so you have to give them your happy masks, I think is what they're called or whatever. Those other 20 that we got by doing, you know, those random things throughout the game, like, for instance, healing, Kamaru or whatever, when we got the Kamaru's mask, that kind of stuff. We can use any of those masks. But anyway, in all of these dungeons, and we are inside the Deku dungeon right now, we have to pay a mask to get in and a mask to get out, as far as the Deku dungeon goes. Later on, we're going to have to pay more to get in and more to get out, and it's, you don't even have to do these. You can technically go talk to that kid wearing the Majora's Mask, and just finish the game. But what we want to do is complete every single one of these, because every one of them has a heart piece in it, and you might notice that we are 1 heart container short of having a full 20, and that means that there are 4 heart containers, or heart pieces I should say, left to find on the moon, and there is 1 in each of the 4 dungeons that we're going to be going in. There's a Deku dungeon, a Goron dungeon, a Zora dungeon, and a Link dungeon that we'll have to be completing. But anyway, the first dungeon, the Deku dungeon, is definitely not bad whatsoever. The only thing that can really go wrong, I guess, is if you accidentally land on the not gold ones. I found, like, if you try and fly over to that place I just got that heart piece on this little spinning thing by landing on the one that is not gold, you won't make it. And also, You cannot fly from that heart piece ledge over here to the door. Don't try that. Believe me, I've tried that plenty of times. I've never once been able to get that to work, unless there's just some weird way you can do it. I don't think there is any way you can do it. Now, we've already made it to the kid. If we talk to him as our Deku form, he'll say to take off our mask, which means that you have to talk to these kids as your regular forms or whatever. And each of them will have a sort of a little bit of a kind of a cool question that they'll ask you after you give them your masks on the way out. Can I ask a question? Your friends, what kind of people are they? I wonder, do those people think of you as a friend? So you can see that these kids, actually I'm not even sure technically what they're supposed to be, but I really love the questions that these kids ask. And by the way, I forgot that we had Chateau Romani. I bought that off camera. I went in the pause menu to put on my Goron mask just to make the trek to the tree a little bit faster, but I might as well go ahead and drink that. Now you can see that my magic meter is purple, so we now have infinite magic. I would have used that like before I even went in the clock tower at the beginning of the episode if I had remembered that I had bought that in the first place. But anyway, it doesn't, like I said, actually I don't know if I said this or not, it does not matter what order you complete these dungeons in. And also, they will all say the same exact thing when you go into the dungeon, like what I'm doing right here, giving these kids masks. They will all say the exact same thing, so there's not like exclusive dialogue that I am talking over right now or anything. But yeah, here you can see that we are about to go into the Twin Mold dungeon, which is actually the Link dungeon, or the Human dungeon, which is actually probably my favorite one. Now this kid wants a lot of masks, and he wants 4, so we have to give him 4 masks to get in and 4 masks to get out. And one thing that I kind of want to mention about giving these kids masks is that you can tell that they were not in our menu anymore. They were not in our pause menu under the masks subsection or whatever. That is okay. If you go back in time by playing the Song of Time, they will be back in your inventory, and there's no point in not giving these kids your masks. I'm not sure if there's going to be arrows in here. I was hoping there would be arrows or bombs, or, you know, actually just arrows would be nice, because there's a part up here that we might need to do some arrows on. But here we're fighting a Dinophos. I don't think this will be that hard, especially because there is only one, and we fought 3 one time before, and 1 stab from the Great Fairy Sword was enough to take him out. Dinophos definitely are not our biggest opponents at this point. Now here is a stone of, what are these called? I forget every single time what these things are called. In any case, we're fighting a Garo Master here. While I fight him, I need to try and remember what those are called. They're not Stones of Truth. I know that, even though the mask is called the Mask of Truth that allows you to talk to them. And by the way, if you talk to those stones with the Mask of Truth on here in the moon, they will tell you how to get the masks you may have missed in the game. So there were a couple of masks that were a little bit hard, or, you know, it seems like they would be a little bit hard to figure out where they were. Those will tell you where to get them. I'm no closer to remembering what they're called, so I guess I'm just gonna have to forget that. But anyway, they're actually kind of important. There's something that I want to show you regarding those stones. And of course, good thing I have my hookshot equipped. I guess it wouldn't have been a big deal to go in my pause menu and equip it if I hadn't had it. But you might remember a couple of seconds ago I was saying that I need arrows and bombs, and there just so happens to be arrows in this treasure chest. I forgot about that. But we don't actually need those. Remember this stone right here. I wish I remembered what they were actually called so I can call them by name. But if you play the Song of Storms at those stones in this temple or in this dungeon or whatever, for some reason, a very weird thing happens, and I will show you what that is after I defeat this Iron Knuckle, which I was about to say it's not going very well because he hit me twice, but I have now defeated him. I was going to say I got his armor off, but now he's dead. Anyway, now that he's done, you might notice that there is no way for us to get up to that platform up there. Might as well go ahead and get this treasure chest. I think there are bomb shoes in here. And there are. And the reason there are bomb shoes here is if we look over here on this wall, there is a crack up there. What you're supposed to do is crack that with bomb shoes or whatever. We don't want to do that. What we want to do is come over here and play the Song of Storms at this stone. And you might be wondering why in the world we would ever do that. This is one of the weirdest things in the entire game. I am not lying to you guys whatsoever. Might as well go ahead and collect the fairy, or not. I guess it doesn't want to be collected. There we go. Now anyway, if we come in here, you'll see the ladder is down, which is exactly what would happen if we completed that puzzle with that cracked wall. I have no idea why that happens. But not only that, there's more. If we play the Song of Storms at this stone, I cannot believe I don't remember what these are called. At the stone, it will make the puzzle in the next room go away. I have no idea why that happens, but as you can see, that door over there is unlocked. And after Link is done showing us this piece of heart, if we look on the ceiling, there is another crack up there. So that is another puzzle that we do not have to do, because for some reason, if you play the Song of Storms of those stones, you don't have to do the puzzles. Like I said, I have absolutely no idea why that works, but it does, I guess. But anyway, here we are. We are going to be able to get out of this dungeon now. And by the way, if you don't have enough masks to get out, I'm pretty sure you have to play the Song of Time to just go back to Earth, if you want to call it that, or to Termina or whatever. But now that we have given him 3, might as well go ahead and give him 1 more, and he's going to have a really thought-provoking question for us. Can I ask a question? Your true face. What kind of face is it? I wonder, the face under the mask, is that your true face? Hard-hitting questions from the Happy Mask Salesman kids, and you might wonder why I call them that. I think there has to be some sort of relationship between the kids and the Happy Mask Salesman. I'm not sure what sort of relationship, if it's just sort of an ethereal relationship or some sort of metaphorical relationship, but you might notice that their hair color seems to be, and by the way, this is completely a baseless theory. As you can tell, I'm about to talk about their hair color. My only evidence point is that their hair color looks pretty much the same as the Happy Mask Salesman, and of course, they want all these masks. I'm not sure, like I said, if there's anything here. I think I've actually read that some people think that these kids, and maybe even the Happy Mask Salesman, had something to do with the tribe that created Majora's Mask. I think that might be a topic for the comments section if you guys have any idea what might be going on here. But anyway, here we are in the Goron dungeon. Probably my arch enemy as far as Majora's Mask goes, because when I played this game as a kid, this was impossible. All I'm doing right now is holding up on the control stick, and that's really all you gotta do, and you'll bounce off these treasure chests at like a 45-degree angle, I guess, or a 90-degree angle, I don't even know. Anyway, when I played this game as a kid, the control stick that I had on my N64 controller would not go straight forward. Actually, it would, but if I held it straight forward, it would not go full speed. And that's, of course, a bad thing, because I was not able to get the spiky roll, which you have to complete the temple. So what I had to end up doing was completing this temple, and yeah, I was gonna say, this is not gonna work. I guess I need to go, there's a teleport thing that we can go to over here that will take us back to the beginning of the dungeon. But anyway, I had a racing controller for the N64. I wish I knew what it was called. I would like put a picture here. I don't even know what to look for to look it up or anything. But I had to complete this specific temple right here, or this dungeon, with that racing controller, because I had no real Nintendo 64 controllers that would allow me to complete this temple. So that is my history with this temple. I was never really a big fan of this, because first of all, it's actually kind of hard. I don't know if I'm making it look hard or easy at this point, but you have to roll pretty perfectly to try and at least try to stay in the middle, because if you go too far to the edge like that, I kind of pulled it back, but if you go too far to the edge, even if you do stay on the platform, you might hit these treasure chests at a weird angle and it will just stop you. That is why there's all these teleporters at all these weird intersections, because if you land on these platforms and you're not going full speed, or if you accidentally have to stop, you can't get enough speed on those short runways to get to the next platform. So anyway, we've got the heart piece in this dungeon. One more left in the entire game, and if we roll from that wall, we can roll to this platform right here, and we can get to the exit. Now, that was weird. I was like stuck right in the middle of those two magic pots, but if you get the right angle here, you can kind of go around that teleporter and make one final jump into the exit area of this dungeon. Now, that was probably the hardest of the 4 to me, because of my, like I said, my history with it. I thought that was going to take quite a bit of time for me to complete, but I did it in like 2 tries, which is probably faster than I have ever done it before. But of course, this goat kid is going to want 2 masks for us to leave, and of course we have enough to cover that bill, so I'm eager to hear what his question is. You, what makes you happy? I wonder, what makes you happy? Does it make others happy too? Like I said before, I have absolutely no idea why these kids are here, but I really do like their questions. If this was an English class, I'm sure I could go at length, you know, the answers to these questions. And I wish, you know, there was like a forum, not like a literal internet forum, but like an area, and maybe there is, I don't even know, like where people could discuss why these kids might even be here, what they kind of symbolize. But anyway, there is one final dungeon for us to complete, and the final dungeon, of course, we have not been to the Zora dungeon, and because this kid is wearing the Gyorg mask, you might assume that we are going to the Zora dungeon, and if you assume that, you assume right. Now, you might also assume that because I kind of had the hardest time with the Great Bay Temple, that perhaps this is the hardest of the moon dungeons. And if you assume that, you would have to be wrong, because to me, this is probably the easiest of the 4 moon dungeons, and it might only be easy because I know exactly the path that you have to take to get to the heart piece and the path that you have to get to the end. And basically what this is a bunch of branching waterways that you have to decide which way to go, that you can go left and right at a lot of different intersections. To get to the heart piece, which of course is where we're going to want to go first, you have to go left, right, left, left. If you don't know that, it's going to be kind of a hard time trying to get to it because you're not going to know which way to go, of course, and there are a lot of different permutations for which way you can go. But that is our final of the heart pieces we're going to have to collect in the entire game. We've collected all but 1 mask and all of the heart pieces, so we're really closing in on the final things that we're having to collect. But now that we've done that, we can, of course, get to the kid at the end of the temple, and the kid is going to be left, right, left, left. So left, right, left, or left, right, I should say. Left, right, left, left takes you to the heart piece. Left, right will take you to the kid to get out of the dungeon. So it's kind of just basically the 2 paths are right next to each other that you have to take to get to the heart piece and to get to the kid. I've actually read that, or I've actually seen some people able to swim against the current from the heart piece back up and then take the other paths to the kid. But I tried that off camera, and that would not work for me. I'm not sure how that is even possible because it just kept pushing me back. Anyway, our final mask that we're going to give up is the Kamaro mask, and this kid's question is the right thing. What is it? I wonder, if you do the right thing, does it really make everybody happy? Well, I guess that's a question we would have to decide for ourselves, but that is the final kid on the moon, except for the Majora's Mask kid. And the Majora's Mask kid is, of course, going to take us to the final area of the game, but not before a little bit of a cutscene and our final mask that we're going to get in the entire game. Before we talk to him, though, might as well go ahead and take off our Goron mask, and I'm going to need to equip light arrows and a Great Fairy Sword, but now we can go ahead and talk to this kid and get our final fight underway. Everyone has gone away, haven't they? Will you play with me? You don't have any masks left, do you? Well, let's do something else. Let's play good guys against bad guys. Yes, let's play that. Are you ready? You're the bad guy, and when you're bad, you just run. That's fine, right? Well, shall we play? Now here we are, guys, the fight with Majora's Mask. Might as well go ahead and examine him. It says his basic, I'm just summing this up, we have to attack his backside because his backside is really weak. Now, before we got into this fight, the kid with the Majora's Mask on gave us the Fierce Deity's Mask, which makes this fight right here take like a minute tops, and I would love to use it, but it makes this fight entirely too easy, and I would rather use Human Link for this. I think I might as well save the Fierce Deity's Mask, or Fierce Deity Mask, for a bonus episode, and I'll show you exactly what the power of that is. But anyway, one way that makes this easy, or one thing that makes this easy, is if you use the Zora Mask, you can throw your fins and they will curve back around and hit Majora's Mask in the back. Unfortunately, if you get the Fierce Deity Mask in the way that we did, you can no longer use your transformation masks. You have to either use Human Link or Fierce Deity Link, and you can't use like your Deku form, not that you would want to, or your Goron or your Zora forms. But the way that you would want to do this if you can't use your Fierce Deity Mask or the Zora Mask is you want to try and hit him in the back. I like to use light arrows, especially since we have unlimited magic, but basically just try to get behind him, hit him in the back with an arrow, or you can also reflect this fiery attack, and that will also do damage. Now, I cannot believe that that was enough to take out his first form, but he has more than one form. Now here we have my favorite form of Majora's Mask, and you might be able to tell why in just a few seconds, but I can't get a hold of them to actually examine them, and it's not even really important what Tattle says. Tattle says to battle them with our own body. I'm not even sure what she's talking about. She might be talking about the Goron mask. We can't use the Goron mask, of course, like I said, but like I said, I'm not sure exactly what she's even talking about. The easiest way to take him out is to hit him with light arrows and go in with your sword, because the light arrows will knock him down. Of course, it looks like he has a projectile attack that you want to watch out for. Fortunately, we have a lot of HP, so even if we get hit a lot, we're not going to die, I can guarantee that right now. But this is my favorite part of the fight because of the way he dances around. He does like Michael Jackson moonwalks. He does like the dance that the Re-Deads did in the Ikana Canyon, which makes me think there is a kind of a relationship between Majora and the Ikana Valley or whatever. I'm not sure what the significance of that is, but one other thing that I kind of want to mention is that I do not ever worry about, and maybe I should, but I never worry about those other masks, the boss remain masks, shooting things at me. It's easier just to go ahead and try and take out the forms of Majora. But speaking of taking out the forms of Majora, that is the second of 3 forms of Majora down, 1 to go. Now here we have the final form of Majora's Mask, Majora's Wrath, and what it says is we have to try to shoot it before we attack. That's exactly pretty much what we've been doing the entire fight, so it's not that much different. The only problem is that Majora's Wrath has a lot of little whippy attacks that are kind of annoying to try and get by, because if you try and get too close or try and go between his arms, he will definitely try to slap you away. The good thing is, it is extremely easy to hit Majora's Wrath with any sort of arrow. It doesn't have to be light arrows, but like I said before, light arrows will do a lot more damage. If you do a lot of damage to Majora's Wrath, he will eventually start throwing out these little tops or spinner things with spikes on them. That is where it gets a little bit annoying because then there's those spikes. I've had those kind of interrupt my arrow flinging in the past, so if you can get by those, it will be a little bit easier. But we're really close to defeating Majora's Mask. I really did not think that we were going to take him out that quickly. I thought the final form would have a little bit more HP than that. I guess that more than anything shows the power of light arrows and the Great Fairy Sword. But guys, I hope you enjoy the final cutscene of the game. Well, guys, it was a long journey for sure, but we've completed everything there is to do in Majora's Mask for the most part. We completed all the masks, we got all the masks, we completed all the heart containers, we did everything that I know of pretty much in the entire game. Now then, the final little bit of story there, I guess, I was saying this before, the Giants were friends with the Skull Kid or whatever. As you can see at the end, he said basically, you were still my friend after all that or whatever. In the comments before, people were saying that maybe he was talking about, or maybe they were talking about Majora was friends with the Giants, but that cutscene right there seems to say that the Skull Kid himself was friends with the Giants back in the past. But anyway, I really love that aspect of the story. So it looks like he may have lost the Giants as friends, but he got Tattle and Tail back as friends, so that is definitely good. Otherwise, though, there is still the mystery of the Happy Mask Salesman. I don't know if we'll ever figure out exactly what was up with him when he went away for the final time. You might not have caught it, but he actually disappeared entirely, which I thought was always kind of mysterious, of course. But guys, I guess, you know, I usually do a review in the credits of the games that I do. The reason I didn't do one in Kingdom Hearts 2 is because I had done 3 Kingdom Hearts games at this point. I kind of want to bring back the review in the credits. I'm not sure exactly what I should even say about Majora's Mask. Like I've said before, it is my favorite Zelda game in the entire series. As you can see why, there are dark themes. It seems like a lot more variety in the gameplay than even Ocarina of Time. And the story is just it's better than Ocarina of Time to me anyway. And from all the Zelda games I've played, it is certainly my favorite one. As far as music goes, of course, it's top-notch. I mean, every sound effect works to pretty much perfection, I guess. Except there were a couple of weird things with the Virtual Console emulation that were a little bit strange, but they're not that hard to get over. And one thing that was kind of weird about the Virtual Console, I don't know if you saw in that final cutscene, but there was quite a bit of lag when all of the Giants in the moon were on the screen at the same time. But that's not really a fault of the game, I guess. It's more of a fault of the Virtual Console itself, being an emulation platform more than, like, you know, directly playing the games from the N64 cartridges, if that makes sense. But otherwise, of course, the gameplay is standard Zelda fare, I guess. I like it better than Ocarina of Time in some ways, but Ocarina of Time also had, you know, more boots, it had more shields, more tunics and stuff like that. The trade-off, I guess, is that in Majora's Mask, you of course get the transformation masks, and that certainly changes the gameplay quite a bit, and maybe even more than the tunics and the boots and stuff like that did in Ocarina of Time. The only thing is, it seems like near the end of the game, they just tried to shoehorn a little bit of, like, the Deku mask back in there, and I think a little bit more thorough of an inclusion of all the masks throughout the game would have been really cool, but as it stands, definitely one of my favorite parts about the game, using the masks. But guys, I guess that's really all I wanted to touch on as far as my review, if you want to say. Usually I just like to give a little bit of a wrap-up at the end of the game during the credits. I guess all there really is to do now, guys, is finish watching the credit sequence, and I will see you guys back for whatever Let's Play I decide to do next.